Welcome back to another episode of Getting Real with Bossy. We're on video. We're so excited. And we have Megan Flanagan Mills or Megan Mills?
Technically Flanagan Mills.
Megan, technically Flanagan Mills here with us. So welcome to the basement studio.
Thank you.
We're so happy to have you.
Flanagan's your middle name?
So it's, yes, my middle name because I kept my maiden name as one of my middle names.
Oh, I love that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about
Megan.
I know, it's never call out the people.
Never too late.
All of my kids have my maiden name as their middle name.
Do they?
And they're annoyed by it. Well, 3 of my kids have it. And they're annoyed by it.
Oh. Interesting. Yeah.
They'll be fine.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
They'll appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't think any of them like their names. But anyways, more about you.
Whatever.
I
They'll never
thought
like anything.
it was like either hyphenated or... And Megan, you own?
I own the Flanagan Mills Insurance Agency. And we are an independent insurance agency, so we help individuals and small businesses with coming up with the best insurance options for them.
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me okay?
You can talk a little louder.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank
Want me to read one? Should I read it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Megan, tell us your business.
Okay, so I am the Flanagan Mills Insurance Agency, and we're an independent insurance agency based here in Rochester, and we specialize in helping individuals as well as businesses with coming up with the best insurance options for them.
Awesome.
And how long have you been in business?
A little over 7 years now. So I
And
was with an exclusive agency carrier for 5 of those years, and then I went out on my own and opened my own brokerage 2 years ago.
And that's when you opened in Irondequoit?
Nope, I've been in Irondequoit the whole time.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Very interesting.
Are
That's right. I remember that part of the story now.
Yep.
Yes.
Are
Okay.
you from Irondequoit?
No, so I grew up in Penn on the
Okay.
Finger Lakes. Yep. And kind of moved around a little bit, went to college in Erie, Pennsylvania, I lived in Los Angeles for 5 years, lived in northern New Jersey for a couple of years, and then came back to the Rochester area and kind of settled down and had kids.
And you have 2 kids?
2 kids.
2.
Ada is 8
Mhm.
and Jack is 5.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Fun. In school full time?
Yes. Thank you. You know what? Yes.
Big change, huh?
Yeah, it's so much better. I mean, you know how daycare is so expensive.
Yeah.
So they're in public school full time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if I don't want to make lunch, I could just send them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And they feed them.
Yes, totally.
One of my kids actually sneaks in breakfast.
Oh,
We
nice.
found out recently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she tells the teacher she's hungry in the morning, and when the kids that get breakfast, she
She
goes
does
with them. So she gets 2 breakfasts.
I'm not surprised.
Listen,
Love public school.
it's fine. Whatever works, right?
So how did you decide to become an insurance?
Yeah, Megan at 5 was like, oh,
You don't even
I'm
know
feeling
what to do.
insurance in my life.
Right? No. So I went to college for something completely different. I went to Mercyhurst in Erie, Pennsylvania for it was a major called Intelligence Studies. So essentially it was designed to kind of produce additional like intelligence analysts. So
Like
intelligence
the
meaning
CIA?
yes. Yes. So
You can go to school for this?
Apparently.
I never really thought about
it's
it.
actually Mercyhurst was the founder of the program. So the director there was he created the program and essentially like put it all together. Anyway, so I spent 4 years. I know.
Taking it in.
4 years learning all things about, it was mostly kind of like a history major, but like specifically things about researching and analyzing information. So I minored in Russian language, in religion.
Okay, I don't know which one I'm more blown away by. Like, you majored essentially in the CIA. And you minored in Russian and
Yep. Religion.
and religion.
just to throw something easy in there.
Yep.
Because religion's just like a cakewalk.
Right.
Yeah.
And Russian, I mean.
Yeah.
It was fascinating.
It's practically English.
Practically.
Yeah, right.
So, oh my God.
People ask me now, like, can you speak any? I'm like, I know how to say hello. That's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah. Thank you.
Intelligence, Russian, and religion.
Yeah, I'm gonna write this all down.
Yes. So anyway, so I was planning to go to the CIA or some kind of government contract work. I had a contract through Northrop Grumman, which is a defense contractor, and at the time, there just wasn't any there wasn't any contracts to fulfill the actual contract that they gave me. So I ended up having a family friend that worked at a large insurance carrier in California, and she's like one of those people that you're just drawn to. You know what I mean? Like very magnetic. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be you. So I ended up kind of doing something completely different, moving to Los Angeles and working for an insurance company. And I was doing a lot of like project-based work, and then also some like process re-engineering. So we were looking at a specific portion of the business and trying to figure out a better, like more convenient or effective way to do it. So that was interesting. And then I decided that sales was definitely much more my thing. So I moved into the sales organization. And
I imagine that like studying intelligence and CIA type things helps a lot in sales and like working with people.
Yeah. Because you can, I mean, you have an idea of what the person's like. And I think it kind of helps with that emotional intelligence of like,
well, and problem solving techniques.
Yeah, that too.
And
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
So I need to go back to school.
I don't know if it's going to make the recording, but when we sat down, I said, I'm always excited at the new things we learn in these things, even if we know the people already. And I'm like,
I know. Wow, great. So anyway, so I...
so something else to tell my kids when they want to go to college is, what should I study?
There you go.
The CIA.
They can study the CIA. I did, funny story, because I had the defense contract with Northrop Grumman, I did have to do 2 polygraphs. So they flew me from Erie, Pennsylvania down to Washington, D.C., and I had to actually do the polygraphs in the CIA building.
That's so cool.
No, it was so creepy. And I'm fairly positive.
I'm so jealous.
They told me I failed both of them. Whether or not I did or not, who knows? But that's what they tell. Like it's crazy. Like they'll sit you down and you're like all like hooked into this machine, and the guy will be really nice, the person that's doing the exam, and then like he'll go through the questions and then he'll come back and he's like a totally different person. Like it's
just like the movies.
It was intense.
Sound like the movie.
Yeah, it was intense.
You were so badass. You failed 2 CIA polygraphs.
Yes.
Oh my god. Mm-hmm. You should have like face tattoos.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Right. Like so badass.
How do you fit all that on a business card?
Right?
You don't.
Yeah, you don't.
No.
It should be your tagline. Flanagan Mills Insurance. I failed 2 CIA polygraphs.
Ask me how. It's crazy. Cool. Yeah. So I ended up falling into insurance, but it's been good to me.
And then you came to Rochester.
Yeah.
What brought you back here?
Family. So grew up in Penyon, on the Finger Lakes, obviously, and all my family's from this area. My husband's family's from this area. We were high school sweethearts.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah.
Did he follow you out to California?
Yep. So after we went to 2 different colleges, stayed together through that time.
Damn, that also makes you badass.
Yeah, kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's like doesn't happen.
No.
Yeah, so we went to 2 different colleges, stayed together, and then we moved to Los Angeles together after college. Yes.
And then back to Rochester.
Then back to Rochester.
And what does he do?
He works, it's very complicated, but he works as
you were at the CIA.
Yeah, right.
Do you ever rub that in?
No.
Like, remember that time I had to go into the CIA?
Oh, I was every argument.
I try to forget
Should
it.
I pull out my polygraph machine? Because I've been practicing.
It's so creepy. I try to forget it. It's funny because while they were doing like the security clearance stuff, they came to my dad's house and like asked my neighbors around there, like, who is this person? Do you know them? Like, are they a partier? Like all this crazy stuff.
Wow.
It was wild.
Oh, that is starting to sound creepy.
It is, right?
It's not as cool as I thought.
Yeah, it's creepy. Anyway, so he works for a IT company and he does what's called problem management. So essentially, if an IT system breaks down, he works with them on trying to figure out the reason, and they call it root cause analysis. And
I'm gonna make that my new job title. Because I mean, that's
Problem
just
manager.
Problem management?
Like, it's most of what I do.
Totally.
So is that the t-shirt of the day?
That's the new T-shirt. Even though we can't use that, it's her husband's.
That's
But
okay. He doesn't care.
problem management is like essentially what we all do.
Yeah.
We all sell different things, but we're just problem managers.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's actually
Director of
quite
problem
true.
solving.
Yeah.
Chief Officer of Problem Management. I'm a Copum.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
She-
You're like, I'm
Problem
sorry, I need
officer.
a new drop down on this menu. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
find my title.
Other.
So you were an agent, and you
Yes.
ended up opening your own business.
Yep. So I was with a large carrier as an agent. So it's still 1099, but I was contracted through them to sell their products. Decided that it wasn't exactly what I wanted. So after 5 years, I left that particular company and opened my own independent agency where we essentially broker business. So we've got about 15-ish different carriers that we work with. So we have, I think it's better from a customer standpoint because we're working for the customer, not for the company,
Right.
which is good.
I know you come very highly recommended
Thanks.
in our group.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I know every time the words insurance come up, there's essentially if it's personal health care or if it's business, there's two names that come up, and you're always the business one.
Yep.
I always feel bad. Like I'm like, is there anybody else in the group that sells insurance?
I know. I've thought about that before too. I'm
I
like,
was like,
Like they would step up if they had
I
that
know, right?
business.
That's true.
So,
Yeah.
but we
I
all
haven't
know
had
you,
any.
and that's part of the great thing about Bossy is that once we get to know you and know you are legit, and
Mhm.
we will share the crap out of you.
and
Yeah.
I'm sure you saw it happen. Like one bossy member goes to you and uses your services, and then now that's like extra cred for you because they go into the group and they're like, oh, I had this awesome experience with Megan, and then the next person goes, and then it's like each time people bring up insurance, more people are saying your name with a personal recommendation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I love about the group.
I do too. And I think it's funny because I'm in like other groups too. And I feel like I've gotten more business and support for my business with people in the Bossy network. Even if I don't know them as well as some other
Right.
people, it's pretty incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yay.
So you went independent to ownership.
Yes.
Seamless transition, right?
I mean, one would think.
What was the most surprising thing? Because I worked for the business I now own.
Yep.
Before I bought it.
Mhm.
And I think that's a little bit different of an experience because you can look around and like, especially when you're in that transition of like knowing that you're going to do it and like pick up on a lot of things and really come in a different perspective, especially that first day of like where you want to be versus where the business was.
Right. So I think for me, it was pretty like easy because I already knew insurance. I already knew the products. And I mean, auto insurance, yes, there's plenty of different carriers and some things are different, but like auto insurance is pretty much auto insurance. It's not that complicated. So I think for me, it was really just a large learning curve on switching from just one carrier with X amount of products to this whole boatload of people that I needed to, learn their products and learn their systems and that kind of thing.
Okay. And you brought in employees?
So
Or
I
did you start on
already
your
I
own?
already had two at the time I had two employees
Okay.
that were mine because I was a 1099 independent contractor
Right.
with them. So they were mine. They essentially came with me.
Awesome.
Yeah. I stayed in the same location. Same that
Nice.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
So we have businesses that have ebbs and flows and times of the year that we're busier and not busy. And I think for us, it's incredibly stressful. For you in insurance, like that's completely different, isn't it? Isn't there like weird times where that's a hassle and that I don't know, I feel like I talk to anybody, whether it's business or personal insurance, there's a season that is incredibly stressful.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see like a specific season, but if there's like a major weather thing going on, we tend to get a lot more influx of claims and questions and things like that. So maybe like the winter, generally you would think that like the holidays would be
Yeah.
kind of like slow because no one wants to talk about insurance. Imagine that. But actually, we had one of our best months last month in December.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's kind of crazy.
So the first thing I think of is that everybody's buying their family members' cars. Like, why else is business skyrocketing in December? Or houses?
I don't know. I honestly think it might have to do with people having a little bit more free time by taking their vacation towards the end of the year.
Gotcha. And they're
That's the
like,
only
this is
thing
my
I can think
to-do
of.
list, and like, I'm gonna knock them out.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we had a couple people that bought cars, but I mean, who really buys a car for somebody for Christmas?
Right. I always see
I don't
those
know
commercials, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I've never once heard of somebody
Yeah.
having like a bow-wrapped car.
I
in
know,
their
me
driveway.
either.
So when I bought my, like maybe 2 cars ago, the place that I bought it from did put a big bow on it, and I was like,
Oh.
thank you. I really never thought I'd experience that in life, and I despise that company. I won't say it out loud, but feel free to DM me, and I will let you know because they were horrific.
But they put
But they put
They
a bow
put
on
a
the
bow
car.
on my car.
Now, all dealerships should really do that.
I think so too. It's that
Should.
little extra
A
touch.
little touch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like it.
Yeah.
You know, my husband, we were watching the holiday commercials at one point, and he was like, "You'd never like buy me a car, right?" And I was like, "No." I'm like, "You are so, like, there's no way." And I was like, "That's like the dumbest thing ever."
It's such a personal thing too. I'll say it because I know they won't hear it. But my parents bought my sister a car once, and it was the type of car that she wanted, but not the actual car.
Right.
Actually, I'm gonna Jazzy scratch that because this will be the one that they actually listen.
Yeah,
to.
they'll listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but you're gonna buy somebody a car, and
I
then
was just like, this is great. This is the complete opposite of what I was just about to buy
yeah,
myself.
I hate the color red.
Mhm.
Right. Right. Yeah,
But
it's,
anyways,
it
yeah,
is very
very
personal. I don't know. Anyway, so
I was really hoping that there was an influx of car purchases this year for family members, and I had to ask because
not that
see
I
the
know.
commercials.
Right.
But anyway, so yeah, I mean, from a business perspective, one of the nice things about insurance is that some of those ebbs and flows are a little bit more smoothed out because we still get renewal income. A ton of new business one month and none the next month, and it's not as much of a hit, you know, from a financial standpoint,
Sure.
because I'm still getting some renewal coming in.
I just learned something else. I didn't realize that you got the renewals, and you would think it would just be one contract.
So yeah, I know it's different than some other
Yeah.
carrier or some other types of business. Like life insurance is a little different, but yeah, that's where really insurance agents don't really make their money on new business. It's really renewals that
Okay.
you can actually make money on. So you want to retain as many people as possible.
Right. So going back to your CIA training, it's that keeping those relationships and knowing how to work with people because
Yeah.
that's where the bulk of your money's coming through.
Exactly. Yeah.
I am going to ask you so many CIA questions. It's going to be a weird transition, but we've now talked about kind of how you got to where you are. I think that if you're willing to share, you have a very powerful story in that separation time, going from independent to ownership,
Yeah.
that I think might help a lot of people if you're willing to share.
Yeah, of course. So, you know, I personally believed I was doing the right thing. I was leaving on good terms, I thought, from this carrier, and doing, you know, the things that I was supposed to be doing to terminate the contract and yada yada. Long story short, I ended up getting a pretty serious lawsuit 6 months after leaving, where it was in federal court, so really ugly. And then once I secured legal representation, I was then essentially restricted from talking to or helping any of the clients that I had previously worked with. So I had
In your new business or in
in the new business.
Right.
So
damn.
I couldn't, yeah. So it's essentially I'm totally blanking on the name.
Like a cease and desist?
Sort of like a cease and desist. Oh, it's called a injunction.
Okay.
An injunction essentially is like a business restraining order, is the way that I was explained. Where so they were serving me an injunction as well as a lawsuit, because they didn't want me to take any additional clients that they came to me. Clients came to me and said, hey, I heard you were leaving, take me with you, because I have so many personal relationships. And I get back to, my CIA training.
Right. I wasn't going to say it. I withheld.
So back to that though, I mean, I have a lot of like very personal relationships with people who found out what was going on and said, no, I didn't go to that company for them. I went to that company for you. Take me with you. And anyway, so I never received a cease and desist order, which is unusual because that particular insurance carrier always, in my experience, because I had been with them for 14 years at that point.
Really?
Including my time in corporate. So I'd been with them quite a while, and in my experience, I've never seen a lawsuit go to a former agent at all. And certainly not immediately. It would have been a cease and desist or several cease and desist orders. And I never got one.
So were you an example?
Yes. So, and that's the verbiage, if you will, of what I was told and what I had heard through the grapevine from the other agents that were still are with this particular carrier. They're going to make an example out of you. You are a great agent, and, it's big loss, and, good luck. We don't want to. Yeah, we don't.
Scared.
Yeah, and we don't want to see people following suit.
Right.
Like we don't want to see a mass exodus because a star agent is leaving. That's frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit complimentary that they were scared of you, but way more frustrating.
Yeah.
But
well, way more frustrating because the fact of the matter is, I would never have left had it been perfect. Right? Had things.
Right.
If things were going great and we were growing and continuing to bring on new clients and retaining business, then I wouldn't have switched. I wouldn't have changed my mind. But the reality is there were things that were broken, and regardless of how many times I told them that it was broken, nothing was getting fixed. So the last straw was a conference call. I remember it kind of vividly, conference call where they were announcing there was another rate change happening. So they were increasing rates on both new business and renewal again for the third time in 1 year. Okay.
Wow.
Right around COVID time. So it's not great timing.
fairly certain that's happened to me before.
Probably. Yeah. Yeah. So they were raising rates again. There was no end in sight, and the person that was on the conference call said, just get used to it, pretty much. And then the third thing was they're cutting commission again. So the commission percentage was going to be lower. Renewals were going to be harder to retain. New business was going to be harder to get. And all of those compounded, can you survive? You
can't.
Which is why I left.
Too.
Right. So anyway, I wouldn't have changed that decision of leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Would I have done things different? Now looking back, probably, because they really honestly kind of ruined my life for a year and a half.
Yeah.
I have spent tons of money on legal fees, and I ended up having to settle because it wasn't going to end. And my lawyers essentially just said, pay the money to settle, because otherwise they're just going to take you and they're going to continue, and it's going to be way more expensive in the long run. Even if we could win, which we probably could have, it wasn't worth it.
I am so stubborn. That would hurt so much. Especially knowing that I think I could win, but I still have to pay you.
Oh, yeah. Trust me.
Yeah. I hurt for you just out of my own stubbornness, just empathizing for that.
Right.
Yeah.
But at some point, you want to be able to continue to grow your business and
right.
do the work you need to do, which you can't.
And not have the distraction.
Right.
Right.
Because I think that's day-to-day distraction, but mental, that's got to be terrifying.
Yeah. So I
got sued over a car accident, and I was like, don't even know, like, I couldn't even wrap my head around that. And this has got to be so much more. Like,
yeah.
Somebody's
And it's
doing this to you.
and it's
When they were wrong, they're
It's your
doing this
business.
to you.
and it's wild because not just the business, they named me personally in the lawsuit because I had a contract with them originally signed personally. So you can, it's so frustrating. You can protect yourself from a legal standpoint as much as you can, right?
Mm-hmm.
With LLCs and corporations and all these things. But these large corporations can do whatever the hell they want to, essentially. And there's really nothing you can do about it.
Because you signed your name.
Because I signed my name.
If you would like to know what the company is so you can never use them, just DM us or send us an email at bossyrock@gmail.com and we will tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. Wild, right? Yeah.
That's
So
horrible.
I'm currently going through therapy because I have like pretty severe PTSD from what essentially was a very abusive relationship.
And do you
So
know
if
what's a great time to go through a lawsuit? A pandemic.
Yeah.
Can't even fathom running my business, my family, and a major, I mean, this isn't minor, a major federal lawsuit in the past 2 years.
In a pandemic, when we have no idea what the future looks like and if people will be purchasing automobiles and businesses and all the things that you're going to make future money. So it's not just you, it's threatening your family.
Yes. There was specifically one person. So my husband used to work for this company. And there was one person, a sales leader in the organization when I was leaving that said, "Oh, well, it's a really good thing your husband no longer works for the company."
Wow.
Threatening my family.
What?
Mm-hmm. So some of the things that like were said through this whole thing are just like mind-boggling. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, I had a lawyer say to my lawyers essentially, well, we're just glad that Megan's now taking this situation that she got herself in seriously.
Oh.
And then another really good quote. I won't bore you with all of them, but another
It's not boring at all.
another one was, well, a little litigation never hurt anyone. And
Wow.
she can just work a little harder.
She can just work a little harder. Do you think they would have said that if you were a man?
No! I know! Isn't it weird? Oh my gosh, you should have saw my husband's face. He was with me in the room. It was
I want
during
to punch that person.
it was during like a mediation, and the judge came back from the other room and he was like, "So you're not gonna believe what they said." And so he told us these two things that they said, and I think my husband was gonna like,
Yeah, I want to punch
Oh.
somebody in the face right now.
I know.
Not
Oh,
you,
hi,
George.
Kat. I didn't want to punch you.
No, but go
We're
on.
very anxious over here. Maybe that's why the cat came over because we're all like feeling us. The cat's like, "It's okay, pet me."
I'm glad you are in therapy. I feel like every interview we do, somehow, because we all need it and it's so important. So I'm glad you're giving yourself that gift.
Yeah, and I didn't even, I mean, I had been in therapy before. I kind of took a break for whatever reason, life. And it wasn't until it was the week after I sent the check-in. And I literally, like, couldn't function and couldn't get out of bed. And I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, am I just, like, extra tired? And it took me, like, a couple weeks of, like, self-reflection to realize, like, I'm just depressed. Like, I'm in a real bad place. So I called my therapist and I was like, I need to go back. Please take me
Yes,
back.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but I mean, even like we're going to be working through like some of the trauma therapy stuff. And she told me, you need to write all this down first because you're going to forget through the work that we do some of this like really terrible stuff. And if you ever want to use it, in the future, then you should write it down.
Like when you write your
Very
book.
nice.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And take down the company.
Yeah. I don't know.
Did
Or you start a new worldwide Flanagan Mills and outrate every one of their
Right.
businesses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway.
Sorry, I think big.
Did you have any, I mean, you've got a great support system, but was there anybody that had been through anything like this that you could turn to, or you were really just dealing with this blind?
I was the only one. So I know for a fact there was somebody that was that I trusted, that was in the organization, that I had kind of confided in some of my plans, that must have given a lot of that information to the leadership of the corporation, because some things were weird. Like they ended up sending me a lawsuit, but also one other person. Now, over the course of the entire state, it's never happened before. My lawyers looked it up. Like they had never served a lawsuit to anybody in New York. So very strange, but I have a feeling it was
because you confided in, and
it was because of that, and because I said, like, well, it would be pretty discriminatory if they came after me and not anybody else, so they filed a lawsuit against a male.
I was just gonna say, can you sue them for it? And then you said that they also
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So essentially, taking that out of the equation.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. But I mean, there were so many people who left prior to me and even after me who have done the exact same thing. And
for the example.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, F them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And you're done with it now. Everything's settled.
Yeah. So we it's done. It's over.
Does your business insurance cover any of that?
No, because
As the insurance.
I know. Trust me, I have all of the insurance. None of it covered it. And it's really because it's a contractual
Okay.
dispute. Kind of loopholes. But but I'm pretty sure they knew what to do in order for it to not be covered under any policy. Which, again, large corporations compared to the little guys,
Mm-hmm.
they don't give a shit.
Right.
And it's so frustrating.
How, if you don't mind me asking, and we can always cut it, did you pay off a large corporation in a lawsuit?
Yeah,
In
so
COVID.
yeah, so luckily my husband had a large 401k, and we just took a large hit on, the
Your
distribution,
future.
my future.
Yeah.
It's interesting
You
because
just need to work a little harder.
mhm. So when we were in this, I know. So when we were in this mediation with this judge, he was a federal judge. We're trying to mediate to get this to just go away. And he came back and said, like, this person is really, like, hurt over you leaving. And it's crazy because I didn't know the person. But they're like, it is very personal. And I started to cry after he mentioned you can work a little harder, a little litigation never hurt anybody. I started to cry. And I try not to, like, cry. So he said to me, well, where, like, if you have to pay them, where is that money going to come from? And he said, do you guys have children? And I said, yes, we have 2. And he said, it's going to be their college funds. And of course that made it even worse.
Mm-hmm.
But it's my future. And it's hard-earned money that we've
Right.
worked
It's
so
your money.
hard.
Yeah. It's not like it was a gift.
Right.
It's your
And
money
it's-
that you saved.
And it's nothing to them.
No.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Won't make a difference.
It's like probably 1/10 of the amount of the bonus that the CEO is going to get this year.
Right.
I looked it up to check what the CEO made, and it was for thanks.
So what's
Yeah.
the advice you would give somebody in your shoes leaving a company and starting their own business?
Yeah, so it's so hard because I don't know.
Could you have
It's
done
frustrating.
anything differently?
Yeah, I mean, I think I could have been a little bit more cautious on talking to certain people. I could have been a little bit more cautious and proactive about having people sign something saying that I didn't approach them. But that doesn't necessarily mean it would never have happened.
Right.
So I don't know, it's hard. my advice probably would just be follow the contract to a T.
Yeah.
And it, unfortunately, otherwise you're taking a risk.
Right. And I mean, it sounds like this definitely was a situation where they were choosing to make an example of you, but this could happen to other people. So
Yeah, it could.
Was
It
it a
certainly could.
non-compete?
It was a non-compete, but they also named all sorts of things that I want to sue, like non-compete, non-solicit, breach of contract while I was still under their contract because I had to give them 3 months written notice. They wouldn't allow me to cancel the contract any other way. So during that 3 months, I was essentially set up. And I think anyway, trade secrets, infringement, like all sorts of things.
Well, because there's like legislation going through to like disband non-competes or something like that.
Yeah, so I sent it to my lawyers. And it is true that there's some legislation going through, which will be good for people. I mean, I don't know. You gotta be able to do business.
Right.
And, if I'm an expert in insurance, I'm not gonna probably pick up a restaurant business. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. So, yeah. But yeah, I would probably give advice to consult with a lawyer before taking
plan.
any.
That's
any
good
measures.
advice.
Yeah.
Knowing that that's potentially something like that on some level, on some scale could happen.
Yeah. And
Talk to the lawyer.
totally worth the investment to talk to them ahead of time so that you can be prepared for what could come.
And document all of those bad practices that you're observing that's making you want to make this transition.
Right.
Let your lawyer type all that up.
Yep. So, yeah, that would be my advice.
All right. Well, that was heavy.
Yes.
And I hate that you went through it, and I hate the company. But on a more positive note, you have exciting things that you're doing in addition to.
Yeah, this isn't your only passion, insurance and Russian and religion and CIA. You have another
Which
great
directly
opportunity.
ties to the Russian and religion subminor.
Right.
Not at all. It does not.
It doesn't.
It was not a
Tell us
spoiler.
about
Anyway.
what's next on your plate.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about it. So I've been flipping houses for a few years. I like to call it rehabbing houses because flipping sounds negative. Rehabbing houses for a few years. And just as a side note, one of the whole reasons that I even had to get into that was to supplement my income from a business that wasn't working. Anyway, we won't go
Pause for
there.
1 second.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
You got a little George hair?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm potting them.
All right. Yes.
So anyway,
Rehabbing houses started because you needed to actually make an income when you weren't able
imagine
to.
that. Anyway, so rehabbing houses for a few years, really love it. Love the design portion of it. Kind of don't want to put my personal finances on the line anymore because my credit score is like terrible. So
Did the lawsuit affect your credit score?
in the fact that I had to take out loans because of the legal fees, yes.
Okay.
Just
Didn't
friends.
even think about that. It just one thing after another. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, but I'm planning to start a remodeling company, an interior design company. So my idea and what I would like to do is work with individuals who maybe love their house and just want a facelift, where we kind of use the existing structure and make it more usable and appealing to whoever is hiring me. So I essentially will do the design portion. I'm currently taking an interior design course through the New York Design Institute, and I'm taking a course in SketchUp, which is essentially like the 3D modeling things. So taking those two courses so that I will be able to help them with that portion of it, and to do the rehab or contract with people to do the rehab.
On any scale, it can be like fix my office or my upstairs.
Or my kitchen.
Yeah.
It needs to be 3 times bigger than it is.
Yes.
It's an old house and I
Yeah.
have a lot of kids.
Yeah. Yeah, so anything really. I don't really foresee any new construction at this point. I'm not really interested necessarily in that, but I really like to look at a space and figure out how to make it more usable, or just prettier.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when is that scheduled to be something you can devote your time and energy into?
Yeah, so I currently have employees in my insurance office, which is amazing, and they're great. So I know that I have the ability to step away a little bit from the day-to-day of running the insurance agency, and that's going to continue. So if you're a good client, don't worry. So that's going to continue. They're going to do a great job and, bring me in when necessary. But I'm ideally thinking, like, I don't know, that I'll start actually trying to get some clients in like the second quarter of this year.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the fun part,
Mm-hmm.
like doing what you love.
Right.
The
Yeah.
freedom to be able to do what you love.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it was a lot of soul searching too during this whole lawsuit situation where I was like, so here's kind of what I've been thinking about. So insurance, right? I own my own business, I own my own brokerage, but at the same time, I'm still tied to all of these insurance companies who can make whatever decision they want to and whenever they want to. So they can reduce commission, they can change premiums, they can non-renew customers based on claims or whatever other reasons. So do I own my own business? Sure, in theory, but I'm still tied to all of these carriers.
Who can make decisions for your clients,
Correct.
regardless of what you say and think.
And make significant disruption in my business too. I mean, if one of the carriers that I have a ton of auto insurance through decides that they're just going to pull out of New York State, which they could at any time, what am I going to, I've got to rewrite all of those people to keep them, which, is going to impact the ability to sell new customers. So,
Right.
yeah. So there's a lot of, during this whole thing, it really gave me an opportunity to really look at, like, what I want to do, like, what does this look like? And I feel like diversifying a little bit more than I currently am is the way to go.
I feel like it's like left brain, right brain, right? Like you're very
Yeah.
analytical, and both are very analytical things. Like I love creating new businesses and spaces and like decorating, designing, but it's like very mathematical. And insurance, I imagine, is very like paper mathematical.
Yep.
You get to fill
Processes.
in the comments. Yeah,
Yep.
like it is a beautiful box.
Yep.
And part of you has to like that beautiful box, and then obviously part of you is like, but that should be yellow.
Yeah, totally. So well, before kids, I did a lot of acrylic painting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for that
For the
kind of,
CIA?
yes, for that kind of creative outlet, for myself. And now I'm like, how can I turn this like part of my creativity brain into something that can
Have you taken up painting at all acrylic wax?
Yeah, I've done acrylic painting like
Since you've recently?
like recently.
Yeah.
No, not since I've had kids.
Yeah.
It's just so cool. They're a lot.
They are.
But if you come to my office, I have a very large canvas in my office that I painted.
Nice.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice though? That
Yeah.
like, it's something you created.
Yeah. People are often like, "Oh my gosh, I love that," and then my
Do you
team,
tell them?
my team will be like, "Oh, Megan did that."
Right.
You're so well rounded.
Well, and I think it's kind of making me flash back to Denise's interview where like there's the thing that you're clearly very skilled at insurance, but that doesn't always have to be what you do. It doesn't have to be the
only
end.
thing,
Right.
right?
And you can also do something you love, and it's
Right.
great that you have the opportunity to do that. And as horrible as all of that is that happened, it may have also helped you get to this point where now you're moving into this next business idea.
Totally.
Doing something that you love.
100%. And I don't know if I would have gotten there had this all happened or had it not happened, because it was really stemming from my therapist that said, like, well, the beginning part of this, like, well, and she was the one that said to me, like, well, you own your own business, but like all of these people are still attached to you. And I'm like, oh shit, you're right.
Right.
I mean, I honestly feel that way often at work. I mean,
Yeah.
business is, when you're tied to consumers, you're selling something that somebody else, you know, unless you're making your own product and selling it directly, like somebody has control, like eggs.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean? Or like when beef prices skyrocketed because corn went up, because we had an issue with limes for a while because a cartel took over all the borders and was not letting the trucks come through, so limes were $1 a piece.
We
for,
couldn't
like, the
get
whole summer.
fingerling potatoes for a month. Like,
What?
just that type of potato.
Because that
Yes.
person made
Right.
that decision, and now you're like, oh, I'm just purging money on limes because there's a cartel fight in Mexico. Like,
Right. Right.
so you're like constantly on
Yeah.
all of the I don't know, it's like a string puppet.
And you're always going to be, right? You're always going to be tied to other people because there's never going to be an opportunity where you're like, I mean, unless you're doing something without.
Creating something from scratch that
Right.
you've already, and you've created
you
all of
sell
this.
it, and
Yeah,
you grow the product, and
Right.
you sell the product, and you
Little
sell
different.
the product. Like that's a little bit less.
Well, think of
reliant
people
on
that couldn't get glass.
Yeah.
That everybody was doing their own stuff at home. Nobody could get mason jars. So there's just it is never truly your own.
Right.
You're relying on something.
You're relying on something. In insurance, you have to rely significantly because that's your
Yeah,
only.
that is the only thing
thing.
you're selling.
That's the challenge.
Do you have a name for this new business?
So, yes, it's going to be called Reimagine Remodeling. So, reimagine your space, reimagine what.
It's like love it or list it.
Yeah.
I
essentially.
never want people to list it. I'm like, you're dumb.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have
It's
to like
beautiful.
fix it. Like,
Yeah, I know. So,
I always root for the love it.
yes. But it's so, like, that shit also drives me a little crazy because it's so dramatic.
So dramatic.
And I'm like, and she's always like, oh, I've got this new thing to tell you about. I'm like, can we put like a contingency in your budget a little bit? And then like, we won't have this terrible conversation.
Dentist plays HGTV. And I don't have cable, so I don't really get to watch that stuff anymore. And so the last time I was at the dentist, they had some remodeling show on, and I've done enough spaces between my houses and the businesses that like I have a general idea of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm laying there like they're working on my teeth, and I'm like trying to yell at the TV, and I'm like, "That's not how that works. You're making that up." I'm like, and this
You saw that on the first day. We saw you notice that.
right? And I'm like, "This is during COVID. That's totally." I'm like, "You can't talk." My daughter was laughing at me. She's like, "Well, they put it on. It's like calming for most people." And I'm like, "Not me.
Yeah.
Well, they need to put something out, like a scary movie on." Because I just want to like yell at these people because they're lying about plumbing costs.
That's so funny. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so it should be fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you.
Thanks. Me too. Yeah.
I hate that happened, and I hate the saying that everything happens for a reason. Because I just want to like punch people.
But we can
Nice that
appreciate.
the silver lining appeared.
Yeah, we
Nice
can appreciate
that
the
you're coming
things
into
that
something
are
new and better.
Yeah.
And technically, you are working a little bit harder, and that makes me want to punch that person even more.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
You should go back to them and find them and be like, "Yeah, well, I started another business. Are you happy now?"
Right. Well, so just as an aside, I mentioned that they did submit a lawsuit for one other person. That person ended up getting out of the business, and I just recently heard that the sales leader is going around saying that they closed. Yeah, the lawsuit that we gave that person closed down their business. It's
And they're very excited about
So,
it. Like, yeah.
congratulations, you ruined someone's life.
Yeah.
Ugh,
That's awesome.
it's disgusting. It's gross. Yeah.
You can't see my face. I was sarcastic.
Anything coming up you want us to know about?
No, I think all of the new things.
Reimagine Remodeling.
Reimagine Remodeling.
So if somebody needs insurance, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so the best option if you need insurance, either business insurance or personal, is to reach out to my office at 585-678-8008. Or you can also email us. Best email to use to get a quick response, because you know how it goes with inboxes as owners, is info@themillsagency.com.
And if somebody's looking at doing a remodel in their home,
Yes.
do you have a way for them to reach out to you yet?
No.
Okay. So reach
But I
out to us at bossyrock@gmail.com, and we will get you in touch.
Yes.
And also, if somebody is finding themselves in a similar situation, reach out to us at that email, and we will reach out to Megan, and maybe we can offer you that support.
Yeah, and I was gonna say as well, if anyone is in a situation where they're like they just want to pick my brain on like more details on what happened exactly and all that kind of stuff, I'd be happy to chat with you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Megan.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
hope you guys enjoyed talking to Megan or hearing from Megan.
Something we don't always get to do because I think we forget because we get so engrossed, but I wrote it down this morning. Any women business owners out there you love and respect and want to give a shout out to, and maybe we can reach out and see if they want to be involved in our podcast.
Ooh. Have you had Liz Ortolani yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Liz Ortolani, I love.
She's our other bossy insurance person.
Insurance person. Lauren Getz.
Mm-hmm.
With Everyday Hands.
Yep, she's an around to quit person.
She's an around to quit person. She's fabulous, and she's really like, she started her business from nothing and has grown and like evolved, and she's doing a great job.
You would have met her at Kelly Kester's Bossy Hour. That we
Yes,
did.
okay. I remember now.
Yeah. So Kelly Kester is another amazing person. I don't know. I'm sure there's people that I'm forgetting, but
That's all right.
those are the ones that come to mind.
I love it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right, thank you so much.
You got it.
Done.
Bye.
So was it painful?
No.
So, thank you. We didn't want to push, so I appreciate you sharing that because I'll clap on the status.
I was gonna say I could probably reach over and stop.
Only one leg works. People.
Oh my god, there's so many muscles that hurt.
I hate that. So I recently, you guys are gonna laugh. I decided that I wanted